Hey guys, I've got another video for you. This one's about 35 minutes long and focuses a lot on core work. This was an interesting video for me. I felt like I learned a lot through watching it. It had been a little while since I had done yoga, so I came in with some grand ideas about making a really good, solid, long practice. And that's not exactly what happened. I kind of burned out pretty quick. But allowing myself to kind of take the time and take a shorter practice was definitely beneficial, and I feel like I still got a lot of really good stuff out of it, and definitely learned a few things along the way, so I'll share a little bit of that with you as I go through. But played around with a little bit of some new camera angles and some lights that I had just gotten. The lights were great. I think the video looks kind of cool, but also it made the room super hot, so I was definitely sweating pretty quick, which was nice. A nice change of pace compared to normally practicing in an air-conditioned house, so that was fun. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Again, any comments, questions, requests, such, just put it down below in the comments, and I'll see what I can do for you. Thanks, guys. Alright, come into child's pose. Feet together, knees apart, arms relaxing forward in front of you, or if it's comfortable, you can take your arms along your side. Just whatever works for you in this moment. I had intended this practice to be considerably longer, but once I got into it, I realized I kind of burned myself out too fast, and one thing that I've been practicing is just allowing myself to do what needs to be done in the moment. So I was being gentle with myself and allowed myself to kind of cut out a little early and alter what I had planned. This video was still really helpful to me though, watching a few things over again, just getting a different perspective on things and seeing things I needed to work on. So on inhale, come to your hands and knees and take a few rounds of cat and cow tilts. Inhale, lifting the tailbone up, reaching the head up, looking forward. Exhaling, rounding the spine, taking the chin to the chest. Just as many of those as you need to feel comfortable and warmed up in your spine. As we go throughout the practice, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I noticed about my personal practice watching this video as I was editing it, just picking up on little things you don't normally think about when you can't see yourself. The breath is so important here. And when you're ready, exhale into downward facing dog. Just give yourself the time to really feel this one out. Your first down dog of the day. Bend your knees, pedal your feet, whatever feels good. On an inhale, lift your right leg up. Bend the knee and open the hips on the exhale. Really trying to keep the shoulders squared to the mat while stacking the hips, getting a slight twist in your spine. Inhale, lift the leg up. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up. And same thing here. Bend the knee, open the hips, and really push your left heel over to the right. Inhale, and back down to downward facing dog with an exhale. One more big breath here. Exhale all the way out. And then step to the front of your mat. Relax into ragdoll. Feet hip-width distance apart. Your upper body relaxed. Your lower body, your feet, all the way up through your knees to your hips are very strong. Thighs are engaged. Even your calves are engaged as you feel your feet pressing down into the mat. I really felt the need to kind of shake out my upper body. My upper back has been really tight between my shoulder blades. And trying to get that to release here in these poses was a focus of mine. Release your hands, walk your feet together, halfway lift, and bow forward. Inhale, come all the way up, reaching up, and breathe here. Feel yourself strong in your legs and in your feet, grounded down, reaching up with each inhale. Then fold forward on an exhale. Halfway lift, big inhale, and then step back to high plank. And take time here to feel out your plank just like you did with your downward facing dog. Make sure your hips aren't too high or too low. It's something I've been trying to focus on, keeping that straight line from my heels all the way through the crown of my head. Bouncing back and forth here on my toes before going forward and down to chaturanga. Inhale to upward facing dog. And breathe here. This practice is fairly core heavy, so these upward facing dogs are going to feel really good to release that abdominal muscles, a good stretch. One more big inhale here. And then push into downward facing dog on an exhale. The beauty of some of these simple movements is that you can really access different parts of your body and tone different parts of your body just by intending to do so, just focusing on one area. And I'm definitely focusing more on my core throughout this entire practice. One more big inhale. Exhale all the way, and then jump forward. Halfway lift, bow forward. Inhale, reach all the way up, and then bow all the way back down on an exhale. Halfway lift, and step back, high to low plank. Upward facing dog, and really lifting your hips up here, lifting back into downward facing dog. If you can imagine really squeezing your abs and lifting your hips up instead of just pushing back with your arms, you're going to get a lot more core engagement in that movement. And you'll get a chance to feel that a few more times. Jump forward, halfway lift, and then fold all the way forward. Inhale, lift up and reach up. And bow down all the way on a big exhale. Halfway lift, fill up, and then high to low plank with one long exhale. Upward facing dog, and then squeezing the core in, lifting the hips up high, downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. One more big breath in. Empty all the way out and float forward, lifting your hips up as high as you can. Halfway lift and then bow forward. Inhale, reach all the way up. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. Again, here engaging the core, tilting the tailbone down. And I'm only looking a few feet in front of the top of my mat to keep my head in line with my spine so that I can really stay focused on that core engagement. And fold forward on an exhale, halfway lift, And then chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, warrior one, and come up. And breathe here. Once you feel your feet planted in place and your legs are strong, engaging your core is going to help you tilt your tailbone down, lifting your pelvis up a little bit, and helping you keep your hips squared in this pose. And all the way back down, high to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, lifting up those hips. Left foot forward, warrior one. And same thing here, just feel it out. Staying connected to that breath as you feel yourself grounding down into the mat even a little bit more. One more big breath in, and all the way back down, high to low plank. Upward facing dog, inhale, and downward facing dog on a big exhale. And breathe here. One more big inhale, empty all the way out. And float forward, really jumping up instead of forward. Halfway lift, bow forward. Inhale, bend your knees, lift up, Bakasana, fold forward. Halfway lift, and again lifting your hips up, back to chaturanga. Upward facing dog, and downward facing dog. Right foot forward, inhale and lift up to warrior one. All the way back down, high to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog, left foot forward, warrior one. Inhale, lift up, and then exhale all the way back down, high to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. And breathe here. Take one more deep breath in, empty all the way out, and then float forward. Halfway lift, fold forward. Inhale, reach up, bend your knees, Utkatasana, fold forward. Halfway lift, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Right foot forward, warrior one. All the way down, high to low plank. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Left foot forward, warrior one. Inhale and lift up. All the way back down as you exhale. Upward facing dog and down dog. A few breaths here. We're going to go through one-legged sun salutations. You can tell by the cadence of my breath that I'm pushing myself fairly hard. If you ever lose control of your breath, always come back to child's pose. Take a big inhale, lift your right leg up. Exhale, and then jump forward. One-legged, halfway lift. Fold forward into standing splits. Inhale, bend your knees, come into Utkatasana, one leg. Exhale all the way back down into standing splits. Halfway lift, and jump back, chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Sending that leg all the way up. And back down to down dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, and jump forward. halfway lift, fold forward, standing splits. Inhale, bend your knees, Utkatasana, squeezing that left leg in, and fold forward back into standing splits. Halfway lift, and chaturanga. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog, sending that left leg up and back down. The more energy you can send through your lifted leg, the easier this exercise will be. So inhale, lift your right leg up, exhale, and jump forward. Halfway lift, standing splits, really pushing through your right leg. Utkatasana, fold forward, standing splits, halfway lift, and chaturanga. Lots of energy through the right leg. Upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, warrior one. Inhale. And all the way back down. Keeping that right leg up, upward facing dog, down dog. And set your right foot down. You can tell I'm really pushing through this. If you need to take a break, that's fine. I probably should have. But I inhale, lift left leg up. And jump forward. Halfway lift. Fold forward, standing splits. Inhale, Utkatasana. Squeezing that left leg into the chest. And folding forward into standing splits. Halfway lift. And chaturanga. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, warrior one. Inhale, lift up. All the way back down, high to low plank, upward facing dog, and all the way back to three-legged dog, and set your left foot down. At this point, I was pushing myself and totally lost control of the breath, so child's pose it is. I definitely like those one-legged sun salutations because they are a challenge for me. And so I definitely like to push myself through them. But this is just me showing my practice, and I was tired this day, and that's a hard set of movements to push through. So just allowing myself to reconnect to my breath. And allowing yourself to reconnect to your breath is so very important. So come to your hands and knees once you feel ready. And push into downward facing dog. We're going to do some fun stuff with blocks. So if you have a block, go ahead and grab it. And we're going to set it about halfway between your hands and your feet in downward facing dog. You can see here. You can have it up or you can lay it flatter. And we're just going to focus on our jumps forward, lifting our hips up. So the idea is to lift your feet over the block. Coming forward, fold forward, lifting up halfway, and then shooting back into chaturanga, lifting your hips as high as you can. Back to downward facing dog, and we'll do that a couple more times, and I'll just let you try it out. Once you feel good with that, we're going to move the block about a foot below where our hands sit in downward facing dog. Again, you can have it flatter, you can have it taller, whatever you're most comfortable with. And now we're going to practice jumping onto the block. So you will have to land lightly. And this is a really great core exercise. And from here, if you'd like, you can come directly into crow. This is what we're working up to. This is just kind of a playtime for me, and you can use it as that if you'd like. Taking this jump one more time. Trying to land as lightly as possible. Now that you've done that a few times, that jumping onto the block, I'm actually tilting mine up higher, and I'm going to be jumping onto the block and then coming directly into crow, basically as quickly as I can. Eventually, what this is preparing our core for is being able to jump from downward facing dog directly into crow. So you can stay in crow as long as you'd like, and then either shoot back or step back. And then try that one again. The jumping lightly is all in your core, just really lifting and controlling what your legs and hips are doing, instead of just launching yourself forward. After you've had enough of that, had enough fun in crow, come into goddess pose. This is a great resting pose, but the more active you can make it, for me, I found the better it feels, really pressing your hands together and using that energy to kind of push your knees apart. It feels really nice. And when you're ready, come back into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up and step it forward, warrior one. Take a big inhale and come to warrior two. Reverse warrior, and then side angle. Again, here, this pose can be a lot of things. Focusing on your core, remember to be light in your fingertips and let your obliques take over the holding up of your upper body as you stretch that upper arm forward. And then high to low plank, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift your left leg up and step it forward to warrior one. And warrior two on a big exhale. Reverse warrior and side angle as you exhale. Keeping your hips as open and as stacked as possible. Being light in that lower arm. Reach that upper arm forward and feel that straight line of energy from the heel of your foot all the way through your upper fingertips. And then on an exhale, high to low plank. Up dog and down dog. We're going to work on a little bit more core work with blocks here. So jump forward, cross your ankles, and roll onto your butt. Just come to your butt however you see fit. We're going to do what I call rolly boats, moving from boat pose, crossing your ankles, and planting your hands and lifting up. But we're going to do it with blocks in order to really engage the core a little bit more in that hover stance. So come into boat pose and breathe here. On this first one, bring it to as full of an expression as you can. One more deep breath in. Cross your ankles, roll forward, plant your hands on the blocks, and lift up. Come back into boat. You can kind of see from one of these camera angles that my feet aren't touching the ground when I'm lifting up, pushing on those blocks, and that's what we're trying to get to, is keeping your core engaged. Big breath in, cross your feet, lift up, and try and hover there as long as you can. And come back into boat pose. One more big breath in, cross your ankles, lift up. You can see some of my struggle here as I have to roll back and forth a little bit more. Back into boat pose. Big breath in. Exhale, roll forward and plant your hands. It's pretty much just run myself ragged at this point. So go ahead, squeeze your knees into your chest, and then roll up and back as many times as you need to kind of massage your spine. And then if you want to roll forward, come to chaturanga. That's great. Just meet us in upward facing dog. Just a couple breaths to really stretch out our core. And pushing back into downward facing dog. Take one more deep breath in and come to your hands and knees. We're going to use those two blocks again with a core exercise that we've done before. But the blocks are going to add a little bit more challenge when it comes to our balance. So plant your left knee under a block and your right hand under a block. Lift your left arm and your right leg. With each inhale, really stretch out in both directions. One more big breath in, elbow to knee. Inhale, reach out, take the right leg up, left arm back. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Hand to foot. Inhale, extend. And back down. Move the blocks, switch them out. This is really where I noticed that I need to work a little bit more on softening my face, smiling a little bit more. I got a little intense in this part of the video. Left leg up, right arm forward. Really reaching in both directions. One more big breath in, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hand to foot. Inhale, extend. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, extend. Hand to foot. Inhale, extend. And back down. We're going to do our little core crawl once again, but we're going to keep using these blocks. So if you can see here in this camera angle, plant your blocks about like so. And we're going to use these to help intensify pigeon pose. So inhale, lift your right leg up, squeeze it in and cross it over. Left leg up, squeeze it in, cross over. Inhale, right leg up, squeeze it in, cross it over. Inhale, left leg up, squeeze it in, cross it over. Right leg up, squeeze it in, cross it over, and set it on top of the 2 blocks. So there should be a block underneath your knee and a block underneath your ankle. If this is too intense for you, just come into normal pigeon pose. This is something I've been playing with to kind of get to a deeper area of the stretch faster, but it is not for everyone. It's a fairly intense modification of pigeon pose. When you feel ready, just fold forward. What I do like about this pose is once I feel a little bit more warmed up and I'm a little bit more into it, with these blocks I can actually tuck my left toes under and use those to kind of help deepen the stretch in a real easy and focused way. So if you'd like to do that, lifting the back knee really kind of opens it up in a new way. If you want to take the twist or a bind here, you can do that as well. Again, all of these are just suggestions for you. Listen to your body and let it tell you what it needs. Go ahead and come out of the twist or the bind. Inhale, lift up. And come out. Switch your blocks around so they're in opposite places. And come into downward facing dog. Take a 3-legged dog if that feels good for you after pigeon pose. Back down to your hands and knees. Placing those blocks on the reverse side. Scoot all the way back to the back of your mat. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Squeeze it in, bring it around. Inhale, right leg up. Squeeze it in, bring it around. Inhale, left leg up. Squeeze it in, bring it around. Inhale, right leg up. Squeeze it in, bring it around. Inhale, left leg up, squeeze it in, and place your left shin on the blocks. Take however much time you need to get that set up so that it feels good, where you can access more of the stretch, but you're not pushing yourself too hard or too far or too fast. And when you're ready, just fold forward and relax. If you want to tuck that right toe under and straighten the back leg, go ahead and do that if that helps the stretch. If you want to take the twist or the bind here, lift your left arm up and go for that. Again, everything that we're doing here is just trying to open up that left hip a little bit more. Do what serves you in this moment. Plant your hands underneath your shoulders and lift up. Come out of the stretch and come back into downward facing dog. Take a three-legged dog if you'd like, and then just meet us on your back. Come into shoulder stand, or whatever inversion is relaxing for you. If headstand is in your practice and that's a relaxing inversion, then go for that if you'd prefer. If this is too much strain on your neck or your back, just place one of those blocks underneath your hips and send your legs straight up into the air. Come into plow pose. Bend your knees into deaf man's pose. Straighten your knees back into plow, and then slowly roll down, keeping your knees straight. Then we're going to come into fish pose. Plant your hands underneath your hips. Come onto your elbows. Let your upper body relax back. If you'd like, you can point your toes and lift your legs just to get a little bit more of the core work done. And then come down all the way onto your back. We're going to take our final twist here. Squeeze your right leg in. Send it over to the left. Bring that knee back to center. Squeeze your left leg in and send it over to the right. Squeeze that leg back into center. Squeeze both knees in. Rock side to side, up and back, whatever feels good. Squeeze your knees into your head, and then just relax down into Shavasana. Palms facing up. Letting your breath come back to normal. Just take these couple minutes to say thank you. Thank you to your body for all the amazing things that it does. And say thank you for this practice and all the amazing things that it does. Come up to a seat. Take your hands to your heart center. Take a deep breath in and say Namaste.